Tessie, welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
No problem. Thank you so much for being in Hairspray. Absolutely.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's so wonderful. I'm glad to be given the opportunity to do it.
Absolutely. How did you get into acting?
Well, I had a longtime family friend who was in another production, Driving Miss Daisy, Art Stringer.
Oh, you know Art, yes.
Yeah, I know Art. I've known him for a very long time.
Really?
And he was telling me about it, and he was like, you should go. Yeah. All you have to do is sing a song, and you do that anyway. Just go sing. And but the only thing about it, it was like the day before.
He told you the day before?
Right. And I'm like,
oh, just by the way, you only have 24 hours to come up with a song. No pressure.
I was like, you could have given me a little bit more notice than that. But he didn't. And so I kind of chickened out a little bit the first day. And I'm like, oh, man. And I've been backing out of a lot of stuff. And so I decided that the second day of tryouts, I called. And I was like, is this for callbacks or can I come? And they were like, come on. And so I showed up and I was so nervous.
Really?
And I didn't realize it was going to be like a room full of people. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And you just have to sit and wait for your name to be called. Because this was like my first audition.
Because sometimes people, we've had the problems. You have so many forms and just by accident, it's not meaning, sometimes you miss people. And so we normally like to say, hey, does anybody want to do something that they haven't done yet? But when we were doing that, it's kind of like they already had kind of decided. They had seen, okay, these people are going to do it. And then they took off before we could even say that.
Wow.
So, it was not the intent. It wasn't, it is high pressure thing. I know when I was auditioning for Anything Goes. Okay. And I prepped myself for weeks. I get up there and I forget the lyrics. It's like, okay, I screwed it up.
I know. I was like, there's an application. Oh my goodness. And then I just wanted to get it over with. And I had to sit and wait for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And then finally, when they called my name, I thought I was going to pass out. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then they couldn't get the music to play.
Yes.
And I'm like, and then we finally got it. And I got it over with. And I'm like, ooh, it's over. So,
it's supposed to be fun. I know it certainly can be a lot of pressure. Where do you get your singing talent?
My mother would probably say it's from her.
Yes.
But it's not.
Your dad?
I think it's from my dad.
Really?
Yeah. So my dad is the singer in the family. So I think I get all of my musical talent from him. I think I probably was born singing. Music was like my first love. So I sang all the time.
Yes.
And then I wanted to play the piano. And so I started taking piano lessons probably when I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I had the greatest piano teacher in the world. Her name was Jan Futch, and she taught me for years. And then her daughter took over, Robin Futch, and actually started teaching me how to play the piano and continue. And so I participated in a lot of piano guilds. As a young child growing up. And I did some theater then, probably before I even made it to middle school. Okay. And then somehow it just stopped.
Really? Why?
I don't really know.
Just got busy with other stuff?
The passion was always there. I don't know. I just got busy with just other things. And I actually started playing, the piano and organ at church. Yes. So that took up a lot of time.
Yeah.
Started singing a lot around different places. Sure. And I thought I was really well. Yeah. But I got used to a lot of criticism. And as like a 12, 13-year-old from some people, not my family has always been really supportive, very encouraging, to push me out there and put me on the spot even sometimes to do stuff. But
so this is as a kid?
This is as a kid. Criticism.
What was thought about that? And, of course, the family has to be supportive. You'd understand that. Although sometimes, we can be or worse critics too, right?
Right.
But criticism, what? Was it like snide remarks or like you hear it behind your back or to your face?
Snide remarks. And then
jealousy? What's that?
My mother would probably say jealousy. I don't really know. Because
at church?
Some at church, some in the community. Yeah. And it really, I think it broke my spirit a little bit.
It can, yes.
Because as a child, all I wanted to do was sing. Like my mother used to force me to, okay, you've been on the piano all day.
Right.
Get off. You know?
Boy, that's not normally what you hear. It's usually get off the video game, get off the TV, off the piano.
Get off the piano. Like it's been all day. But that was my outlet. When I was happy, is you go play and sing. When I was mad, you go play and sing.
Right.
You know, anything. When I was sad, go play and sing. You
Absolutely,
know, so I put everything into the music, and then. You know, of course, like the criticism came, or they start pulling me out of different solos or lead parts, and I'm like, well, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was, you know. And you know how sometimes you see these people perform, and their parents are like, "Yeah, that's my baby," and I'm like, have my parents been misleading me? Like, what's going on here? And so that kind of dampened it a little bit, but I kept going because it was a passion.
Sure.
But I think that really stopped me from really pursuing a lot that I probably could have, should have, would have.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of people say, oh, you've missed your calling. You missed your calling every time they hear me sing, because I sing at church a lot.
Right.
And I sing at different churches a lot and different programs and everything. And everyone say, oh, you missed your calling. You missed your calling. Yeah. And so I'm just at the point in my life where, hey, you know what? I'm going to do me. I'm going to do it to the fullest. Mm-hmm. And who cares what anybody thinks? As long as I'm good.
Right.
It's all good.
But it's odd, you know, people will say, oh, Tessie, that was such a wonderful performance. Maybe it sticks, maybe it doesn't. But somebody says something negative, and man, it really sticks with you. It hurts.
It does stick, you know, and I have to get out of my head because I've gotten so used to expecting the negativity all the time.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when I do get the praise and the accolades, it's like, okay, are you being serious?
Right.
Or,
yeah.
You know,
what's your angle? What's going on?
Like, what is that about? But, it's a really good feeling because I feel really good now. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because I'm just at a really good point and good place in my life where I couldn't be more than happy with me and who I am and everything that's going on in my life right now, which makes this even more special.
Right.
Because this is something that I've always wanted to do, and to actually be here now doing it.
Hey, on the Crighton stage,
like,
with folks, there are a lot of people, famous people that stand on that stage.
It is amazing. Awesome. It's amazing.
Those waves of love, you know, with that applause, you know, when you get out there and take your bows, you just wave.
Like, love on
it's
me.
addictive. It's like, whoa.
Right.
So, high school, and I think part of that also has to do, let's go back to the, you know, feeling comfortable with where you are. I think part of it has to do with age. Yeah. You know, you got through high school, it's a kind of teenage angst kind of stuff. You know, you get past college-ish, you know, kind of age, and you start maturing.
Right. You do. Well, I mean, in some way, it kind of transitioned to sports. Like, I'm a huge sports fanatic.
Really? Uh-oh.
Like, oh my goodness.
What sport?
Like, pretty much everything. I love football. I grew up with football. So I spent probably the first few years of my life at College Station at Kyle Field because my uncle played, and you know, my mother was my grandmother's designated driver. It was like from 81 to 85.
We were there.
Really?
I'm class of 83. I was from 79 to 89.
My uncle was there then,
and I didn't go that many games. Okay, I was 2% that way. But.
We went to like every game, and so I used to perform for the team, everything. You know, my uncle like pushed me out there. Go do it out there. Do it for everybody. Yeah. So I wasn't shy then. You know, wasn't shy at all. I don't think I've ever been shy, really. I'm not sure, but I don't think so. I don't think so. But sports has always been like a big part of my life.
Really?
And then that kind of transition, because once my uncle left A&M, he actually went to the NFL.
Yes, right.
So then we started going to NFL games, and I've just been a sports fanatic.
Wow.
So much so that I even went back to school to like get another degree in sport management.
Really?
I'm like, I love sports. I love sports. I need to be around sports.
Right.
So I've still been trying to figure things out because I discovered working in sport management, you don't really get a chance to enjoy it. You know? So it's like, okay, I work in sport management and there's a game going on, but I'm not.
You're so busy.
There. Right.
Yeah, you're so busy you don't get a chance to enjoy it.
I don't know if this works for me. You know, I'm here at the stadium and I can't see. Yeah, maybe I need to rethink this.
Well, because I guess for some people, being a part of it would be okay. Yes, this is okay. But no, you actually just enjoyed watching the sport.
I love it.
Yes.
So passionate about my teams, though.
Okay, what teams?
Yeah. Okay, for NFL, I am a diehard Green Bay Packers fan. I am a cheesehead. I am a cheesehead, okay? Love them. Wow. Love them. Basketball is Boston Celtics. Mm-hmm. Love Boston Celtics. I still love Paul Pierce, even though he's not a Celtic anymore, but I still love him. And I like the Rockets too. So I grew up a little bit going to the Rockets games. And baseball, Yankees.
Sure.
Love the Yankees. Yep. My mother actually played tennis back in the day.
Yeah.
And so I'm a big tennis fan too. Like, we watch tennis all the time. You know, my mother won't even talk to me like when there's a tennis match on, and she's like, "You okay? Well, you know the tennis match is on. All right, well, I gotta go." And I'm like, "Okay," you know, like, well, call me later, you know, so
when do you have time to do anything?
You know what? I'm always like hustle bustle, like this, like this, like this, like this. I have so many things that I do, like in the community. I have so many young people that I mentor.
Right.
And part of the reason why I'm like, you know what? I need to practice what I preach. Cause I have this young person now that I mentor who is a phenomenal dancer.
Right.
And she's taken ballet, tap, everything her entire life. Mm-hmm. And she's been very fearful to pursue that. And so when she graduated from high school and went to college, I'm like, "You're majoring in what?" And it was chemistry. And I'm like, "Chemistry? Where did that come from?" Right. And I'm like, "You're supposed to be a dancer, baby." Mm-hmm. And she was like, I don't want to make a living. I don't want to use my legs to make a living. Like, that's short lived. And I was like, "But that's why you get a degree. You can turn that into who knows what." And so after she changed her major, like the 6th time, I'm like, "Let's find you a dance program." And so she actually transferred. And I was like, "You can't be afraid. You know, this is a talent that you were given. You can't be afraid." And it's like, light bulb. Okay. Hello. And so that led me here. And it's like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go for it, and we'll see where I land.
Wow. So have you always been in Texas, or you've been other places?
No, I was born in Texas. Yes. I grew up, half in East Texas, in Lufkin, Texas.
Ooh, that's
right.
East Texas, very different.
Very different.
I've been there, done that.
And then my family, we moved to Mobile, Alabama. Okay. So I went part of middle school, high school in Mobile. Right. Which was phenomenal. So, and I actually went to college in Alabama, and then I moved back to Houston. I've kind of been all over the place, you know? Yeah. Kind of think about it. I've been to Baltimore. I've been to Florida.
Baltimore? Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to Baltimore, Florida. And now I'm back here.
Wow.
So back home. Really, essentially back home.
So tell me, what do you do in real life? Not the sports part. That's all the after part. But, you know, I looked at your degree. It's a PhD? Right?
It's an EDD, Doctor of Education.
Yes.
Right. So right now I actually work at Lone Star College.
Yes.
I've been in higher education probably for the past 7 years, 8 years, 7 or 8 years. Love it. Yes. I love working with students and helping them find their way. I think because of the criticism and negativity that I received as a young person, I work so passionately to encourage everyone to reach their goals and pursue their dreams. And so I've been in higher education for 8 years. Right now, I actually deal strictly with new student orientation, where I'm just trying to help students make a smooth transition into college and encourage them and let them know, hey, you can do it. Right. You know, you've taken the first step. You're here. You're getting started. You're on your way. It doesn't matter how fast you get there. Just cross the finish line. That's what's important. So I love it. Right. I love it.
Well, thank you so much, because I think when we talk about, you know, the younger generation, they are our future. They need that support. And sometimes it's hard to know how to help support them in the best way.
Right. And I look at people and I try to tell all of the students, you know, everybody has a story. Right. You know, and so start looking at people and ask yourself, I wonder what's their story. Because we all have one.
Yes.
We all have things that we've been through that we've had to overcome,
yes.
or that we're still dealing with and trying to figure it out. Right. And so when you kind of can change that outlook and say, there's a story.
Yes.
It makes people kind of get different viewpoints of folks that they may not have gotten before. And hopefully try to take the time to understand people a little better.
So how do you see students have changed over time? I think in particularly about the technology generation. It seems like everybody's always got their head in their phone instead of interacting with others.
Right. Technology is a big part of it. And you have to make sure, because I taught too in college as well, and you have to make sure that they understand that you do not play. And that they're going to respect you in the classroom,
right?
And you do what you can to get their attention the first day, the first day of class. But I think, I feel like actually students now have to be almost nurtured a little more, because they're not as assertive as students back in the day.
Really?
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah, really. I
would have thought the opposite.
I think they need a little push, a little more. Because it's like every now and then there may be one or two that's like, hey, I need to talk to you. This is what I want to do. This is what, what do you think about this? But you don't get that so much now. They're there. They want to get there, get done, go home, go with friends, whatever.
Right.
It's like, okay, I'm here, but I'm not here, but I'm here. And all right, so I'm gone. That has changed. I think this generation is a lot more laid back, not as assertive as students from back in the day. Yeah. Interesting.
The odd thing is we as a society don't value education. Look at who our heroes are. Yeah. Right? Yeah, so, you see any heroes that are engineers and scientists and that kind of stuff? No. It's the rock stars or the sports players. And of course, people, it's one thing to say, you appreciate them, but then a lot of times people say, well, I want to be, like them. And then there's some that do some incredible work for the community, not just what they're doing in their particular sport. Right. But, I don't know, we just don't have those heroes. So when you say education, why should I want to get education again? Excuse me?
But I think my theory on that is that's what they see.
Yes, that's what they see.
They see the celebrities. They see the professional athletes, the actors, the singers. That's what they see. So that's what they know as a good life or a success. Right. So they don't see the other side of it. They don't see the PhDs and the doctors and everything and regularly and how they're living and the work that everyone is doing in the community. Right. So we probably should do more to expose them to that. Right. Because the reality is everybody's not going to be a professional athlete or an actor or a singer. So
and that probability is really small that you can make a living at a lot of those things.
Very small.
Yeah.
Very, very small.
Which is, this is a shame. But that's the way it goes. What do you like to do when you do have time to do something? That's not acting, singing, educating, that kind of thing. What?
Is there anything else? I don't know.
You like to travel?
I do travel.
Yes.
And probably too much.
Too much? How can you do too much?
No, I think in May and June, I was probably gone almost every weekend. Yep. And then I took a week and went on a cruise. And, there's just so much going on. And so many places I needed to be.
Well, I think people are interesting. That's why I like travel. It's all the interesting, not just places, but the people. We are very much the same, and yet there's these little interesting, cultural things. Right. It's like, that's pretty cool. Right. And you don't get that unless you travel.
I know, and it's exciting to just get away and experience new things.
Yes.
And meet new people and all of that great stuff. So,
where would you like to go that you haven't been yet?
I want to go to Spain.
Yes.
And I want to go to Africa.
Where in Africa?
To South Africa.
Okay.
I want to go to South Africa. And I actually have a good friend that I've known for years that's from Nigeria. So I just want to travel in Africa for, I don't know, a tour, a nice little tour around Africa.
Well, it's kind of interesting. People, again, tour for different reasons. Yeah. Right. Some people, it's a historical thing. Some people it's just, I want to get away. Some people are into active vacations. I want to be walking, hiking, whatever. And then I have a friend who his ideal vacation is to watch TV.
Well, sometimes it's good.
But yeah, can you understand? Okay, but it's like, I'm going to sit down and watch TV. It's like, okay, you came several thousand miles. Like, you came to Italy, but okay, we're going to watch TV.
But sometimes it's good to just do nothing.
Yes.
Especially when you're so busy every single day, all the time, doing work and fun and play.
Yes.
So sometimes it's good just to do nothing.
I forget that lesson a lot, but my mom always would tell me, it's like, be still. Stop. Just be still.
Right.
You can't.
And you have to do that.
Yeah,
I know
sometimes.
I do. I have to get re-energized and just refuel myself, get restored.
Yes.
Just sit in peace, no TV, no nothing, and just think and do nothing.
Sometimes it does feel good.
Absolutely nothing. So,
how is faith part of you?
It's a big part.
Yes.
It's a big part. I grew up in the church. And my mom used to tell me all the time, as early as I can remember, hey, you better develop a relationship with God, because there are going to be some things and times in your life where only He can help you through it. And I, as a young child, I was like, oh, I don't want to think about you not being here. And she's like, it has nothing to do with whether I'm here or not, but there are going to be some things that only He can help you through. And I did that. I did that. I developed a real close relationship with God, and we talk all the time. I talk to him all the time, and I'm like, yeah, I got that, thanks. And, woo, you saved me that time. But my faith is really strong. It's really strong. I've never get to a point where I feel I've ever given up.
Right.
Or where I feel that He's not going to see me through.
Right.
There are some things that may have rocked me a little bit, and then it's like, wait a minute, you know what? Do you know who you serve? And then it's like, that moment is gone. It's over.
Wow. Yeah.
And then sometimes I sing myself out of it.
Yeah.
And I go back to those roots because that's where it started, in the church, and I sing away. I tell my mom sometimes, she calls and is like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, I'm singing myself happy.
Right. Do you ever sing to God?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I've heard, and it's true that, sometimes they say singing is praying twice. But sometimes there's this line between, am I really singing to praise God, or am I singing almost in a selfish way? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Right.
It's that really fine line.
That's true. But there are some times when there's nothing else I can do but sing. Right. The only thing I have is a song.
Right.
And so those moments, it's between me and God.
Yes.
Nothing else. It's just between me and Him. I don't know any other way to express how I'm feeling. I mean, and it could be good or bad,
right?
But just through song,
right?
It could be just through a praise song, or just through, oh, I'm hurting, and
yes,
I know you care, I know you hear me,
right?
And I'm trying to hold on,
right?
But so yeah, those times is really personal. It's really personal.
If you don't mind talking about, when was probably the most special time when you've kind of almost felt the hand of God? I mean, it's always different at different times, but that special time when you think he just touched you and said, wow.
I've had a lot of those.
That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. But just one really special.
I actually had a really serious moment, and I didn't really know what was going on, and my appendix ruptured.
Wow, yes.
And I had a significant amount of pain, and then it went away. And then I felt fine, but then it was like something that says, no, my child, no, you're not okay. And I ended up being rushed to the hospital. I didn't really know what was going on. I ended up having emergency surgery. that was like 6 hours long or more. And then I ended up having to stay. And when I woke up, I had like all of these tubes all over because it had ruptured a while and was just spreading. And I was at such like peace and calm and everything. And it's like, was an angel here? What was going on? And I realized that day, like, I almost died.
Yes.
Almost died that day. And yet it was okay. You know, I was like, hey, I don't feel well. Something's not right. We need to go now. Right. And I don't even think I knew I was going into surgery. I don't even remember, like, I didn't know I was going into surgery. I didn't know what happened until I woke up. And then it's just I can't even explain the feeling and the calmness and everything from those moments. Everything, every single thing. Everything. I mean, even in those moments, there were times I felt like my grandmother who had passed away, like, is she here? Like, what's going on? Right. And so I just can't even explain. I didn't panic. I didn't worry. I didn't, feel alone. It was like God was there, and it was, hey, it's okay. You know, you're going to make it through this.
It is hard to explain unless you've actually experienced it. But when you see that calm, it's like nothing else.
Right. I can't even explain.
Yeah.
So.
Incredible stuff. What parts would you like to do that I haven't done yet on stage?
Oh, I have no clue. I have no clue. I would probably love to do Dreamgirls and do Effie. Okay. My mother's name is Effie. Okay. So that would be like really interesting, but I think I would love to do that. I have no clue what else is out there.
So you have anything in particular? Yeah.
No.
No particular. Who are your favorite actors or actresses, singers? Yeah.
I actually love like old school, heartfelt music. I love Shaka Khan. Okay. And I actually got a chance to see her a couple of years ago in concert, and I was like, oh wow. It's like a little kid, like she's she was fantastic. Oh my goodness.
Did you get to meet her or just like
I didn't get a chance to meet her, but I was like so close. Like I was like on like the 4th row, and she was like there. She was right there, and she was singing to me. It was fabulous. That's wonderful. I love her. I love her. I love Aretha Franklin, and I love Patti LaBelle. Like I love all the greats, like those that just put every single thing that they have into every song.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
I just love it.
What about is about singing? Not just from the spiritual sense, but almost in a communication sense. If you tell someone something, it's one thing, but for some reason, when you sing it, it's different. That's why people love musicals or whatever. What is it about singing?
I think it's just a way to connect the emotions. And it's okay, regardless to, what kind of culture or whatever you come from, it's okay to be emotional through song. Yes. It's okay to sing and cry. Yes. It's okay, it's okay to sing and be silly. It's like, it's a song. It's okay to put the emotion into the song. And I think that that's what connects music with so many people. Right. Because you connect to the feeling and the emotion of that song. Right. So that's it.
Well, that's a lot. It's true, because a lot of, I guess like movies and things like that, you can see it in a completely different language. You don't have a clue what they're saying, but you're right. You can get kind of the emotional sense from just the music. Right. It's amazing.
Right, because even if you don't really understand like the lines and what people are saying, you can say, once the music plays, you're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Right. You know what they're trying to communicate. You connect. Yeah. How do you know art?
Well, Art is a friend of my family.
Mm.
He's been friends with like my uncles and my godfather and everyone like since before I was born.
Wow. Yeah.
So I've always known Mr. Stringer. Mm-hmm. And I even when I first moved back to Houston, he helped to get my first job out of college.
Really?
Yeah, I've been on Art forever.
Uh-huh.
And so we worked together for a few years.
Yes.
When I first moved back to Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And we've just always stayed connected. Like, he's really part of the family.
Right.
Yeah. He's a big part of the family.
That's nice. Yeah. Together. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that he encouraged me to come, even though it was a 24-hour notice. But a
little more notice next time.
But I'm really glad that he told me about it and had me here. And so, and his friend Pat was like, "Promise, you have to promise." And then finally I was like, "I promise." And then the first day it was like, "Oh, you chickened out. You chickened out. You said you were not going to do that anymore." And so I called and I was like, "Okay, I'm going. No,
we're glad to have you. Absolutely. We're having a great time. And it's a good cast. And they've got good hearts, too. Absolutely.
And when I first got the script and everything, I was like, what have I gotten myself into? This is a lot. And I'm like, how many pages is this? Like, oh my goodness. But it's like, okay, you can do it. And so it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful getting to know everybody and working with the cast and the crew and everything. It's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
So really enjoy it.
It's kind of a strange experience. You are a very close-knit family for 6 to 10 weeks.
Right.
And then it goes away. And sometimes you remain friends, but then sometimes people drift away just because you don't have that reason to be together again. Right. But hopefully that's not the case.
No.
But but I know that, and so I guess it's almost like a drug in that sense. So that's why people do show after show after show because they want that high again. They want that feeling of love again. And so it is very grease paint, very addictive. Yes. It is. If you had to give some advice to people just starting out in college, or even just, they've gotten out of high school now, they're moving on with that portion of life where I believe people really grow, that 18 to 22-ish range. Some people it's different, but what would you tell them?
Just to never give up and that it's never too late.
Right.
Just keep going. The reality is, you're going to hit roadblocks. You're going to stumble. You may even fall.
Yes.
But the key is just to keep going and never get up. And if you can't go, down the path that you wanted to go, find another way. But there's a way to get to your goal and your dreams. You just can never give up. Absolutely.
That's easy to say, but when you're in the moment, it's very different. Right?
It is. Trust me, I know. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But you have to find a way. You have to find a way to pick yourself up and just keep moving forward. And it takes a lot. And those are the moments that it doesn't matter who's surrounding you. You can have the biggest support and big encouragement, but that's when it comes from within.
Yes.
That's when, you have to believe in you and believe that you can do it. And that's hard sometimes too.
Oh yeah.
But, it's true. You hear a lot of people say, look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm beautiful and I'm strong and I can do this. But it means a lot because if you do it and you do it consistently, then you start believing it.
Yeah. So why is it that we tend to believe the negative stuff more than the positive stuff?
I think maybe that's from self-doubt too. Especially when it starts earlier.
Yes.
Or at an earlier age. I think it's a lot of self-doubt and you're not really sure. And maybe you haven't been around a lot or enough to really know, oh no, that's not true. And so it just sinks in more.
Right.
Because you're looking for the guidance or the stamp of approval, or acceptance when you're still trying to find your way
right.
and figure it out or perfect what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So when that comes in, it's like, oh, and it just sits there and sits there. And so we got to break it up, throw it away and get rid
mm-hmm.
of it and just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So I've learned that now, my attitude is if I'm not getting some negativity from somewhere, then maybe I'm not doing something right. Or if I'm not getting it, then maybe I'm not doing something right.
Right.
If I am getting it, then I'm probably on the right path. Because if I'm not on the right path, then there would be nothing trying to get in my way to stop me.
How interesting. Yes.
And so if I'm on the right path, then the devil's going to come for me, If I'm moving in the right direction and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
There's an obstacle. Yep, there it goes.
Yeah, the devil's going to come for me. And so that's how I just change my mindset and say, hey, you know what? I must be doing something right.
That's an interesting
you're
perspective.
Throwing some obstacles and stuff in my way, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep moving forward.
Wow. Let's talk about this kind of the community college versus the 4-year, the college. Because I know sometimes people poo-poo, oh, it's just community college. Mm-hmm. But I think there is such great value for people of all ages. Can you talk a little about that?
Right.
Yeah.
It is. It's wonderful. I think there's also kind of a big myth that you don't get a real college experience at a community college.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's just not true.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're at a community college that serves the community. So you get people from all walks of life.
Absolutely.
From
yes.
all age groups, all type of backgrounds, all type of dynamic stories in one place.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes I think that you get the attitude like you get in the 4-year college. I remember, you know what I'm talking about? You get there and sometimes, the professor gets out. I remember having one professor, he looked like a mule should be trailing him. And the first thing he comes into class and goes, you know what? I'm from the University of Texas, and he was teaching at A&M. So already, right. And so you can think what he thought of Aggies. It's like, you guys are very smart, and I'm going to prove it. And you're like, oh crap, here it goes. Yeah. So they have that. I don't see that as much in community college. No. It looks like there are people there who genuinely care about people. Right. And want people to learn. Right. And that's why I really like the experience. We've done so much with community colleges.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that it's so close to home.
Yes.
And these are people who live in this community. Mm-hmm. And so working at a community college, you're really serving the community.
Yes.
Because you're trying to make everyone around you better and help them to pursue their goals and dreams, which in turns makes your community better that you live in. It makes it better.
Absolutely. Sounds like you do a lot of volunteer work.
I do.
Let's talk about volunteerism because they said that is the engine of the United States. Volunteerism. Now, how do you get people to volunteer to do stuff? Motivate them. How do you?
I think now I just tell folks, hey, I need you, come.
Sometimes a lot of people just want to be asked. Yes,
yeah, that's true. But it started at a young age. My parents gave me a really big lesson one time, and it kind of threw like all my toys and stuff away. Or gave them away rather. And so I learned about giving back, and I just have a commitment to serve.
Yes.
And I think a lot of that too, when I moved to Mobile, I got into like this youth mentoring program with sorority, Delta Sigma Theta. And they did so much community service and so many projects and gave scholarships and everything. Right. And so, of course, when I went to college, I pledged.
Yes, of course, yes.
And it's like, in order to be in the sorority, guess what? You're going to do community service. And it just feels good.
Sure.
So I've done a lot of different projects. And as a result of the success of those projects, everybody calls me like, hey, can you do this? Or, hey, you don't know me, but I was told that you did it. Or, hey, and it's like, okay, and then you don't want to tell people no. And then sometimes it's like really fun stuff, like, helping to organize like a golf tournament or something like that. And it's like, Who? A celebrity golf tournament? Sure. You know, I'll help you with that. And so, but sometimes it can get overwhelming because sometimes I'll take on too much and my family would be like, I'll be glad when this is over. Don't you take on another project, nothing else. And it's like, okay. And then maybe for a week. And then after that, it's like, oh, well, I got a call to, you know, help with this. So it just feels good. For me, it just really feels good. And then also to know that there's so much that still needs to be done.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
You know, a lot of people think that, you know, because of how society and everything has changed and improved, that, you know, there's no more problems or struggle for some people. Mm-hmm. But, you know, there are still families and kids and students who are still the first in their college, the first in their family to go to college, or the first in their family to actually graduate from high school. Mm-hmm. So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. Mm-hmm. You know, more people are becoming educated or successful and are having really good and decent lives, but there's still a lot of people who are really struggling, who really don't even know how to come out of their, you know, their situation.
Right.
So if you had a choice, no one chooses hardship.
No.
No one chooses to be poor.
Right.
And so a lot of times when you're in that situation and you don't see anything, you know, positive or a way out, you know, that's why so many of the kids, like we said earlier, put so much emphasis on what they see on TV, mm-hmm. because they see that as that's a good life and that's my way out.
Or they think so. That's what it's portrayed, right?
Right. So they think like, oh, that could be me. And
right.
I come from nothing and I could use this to get there.
Right.
And for some of them, that's true.
Sure.
You know, but some of them, it's like, hey, no, education. Mm-hmm. But they don't see that. They don't see how, you know, the good education can lead to a good and decent life.
Right. It is certainly a higher probability of a better life. Right. You know, not guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed, but certainly much higher probability than other things.
Right.
When you have a bad day, do you internalize it or do you take it out on folks? No,
I don't take it out on people. Mm-hmm.
Ever?
No, I don't.
Really?
I really don't take it out on people. I'm very good at saying, this is not my best day. You may not really want to talk to me right now. You know, I'm really good at that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I do struggle in silence. Mm-hmm. But I know how to release it, and mm-hmm. I release it by singing.
Yes.
You know, so there are some times I'm like, I need to get home. I cannot wait to get home. And, you know, after I get relaxed, I go straight to the keyboard. I'm like, oh, and then, you know, I'm good.
Yeah.
So I think, over this last year or so, I've really, really learned more about me and, mm-hmm. How to deal with me.
Yeah.
And what works for me,
yes.
Which has helped a lot. So I can say I'm truly comfortable in my own skin.
Wow.
So,
and not many people can say that. I think we fool ourselves sometimes. Right. We can make ourselves busy so we don't have to think about it.
Right.
But I don't think a lot of people are as comfortable in their skin as we'd like to think.
Right. I don't think so. Some are still trying to be. Mm-hmm. And it took a moment. It took going through a lot, experiencing a lot, dealing with a lot of different people, mm-hmm. for me to say, you know what, this is my time.
Yes.
And that's what I did. This mm-hmm. is my time. This is time for me. And I actually had a sorority sister who wrote me a letter, mm-hmm. and just out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. And the letter is like, oh, you know, ever since I've known you, you've always done so much for everybody, and this is your time just for you. And, you know, and she's like, and I prayed to God, like, what do I say to her? And this is it. And it was like, you do whatever it is you've been wanting to do, needing to do, and you will not fail. God
yes.
told me to tell you, you will not fail. Mm-hmm. And I just cried and cried and cried. And I'm like, oh my God, God has been talking to her about me, because that's exactly where I was.
Wow.
That's exactly where I was. And so it's like, you know what? That's my confirmation. Just Just do it.
But it was a letter, right? Not email, a letter. It was
a letter that she handwritten.
Wow.
That was handwritten. It was a letter.
I think it's even more special now because people don't write anymore.
Right.
And an email's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Yes, it's quick and fast and texting someone that's nice and quick and very useful.
But it's not the same
as a letter.
As a letter. And I carry it with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like everywhere. Mm-hmm. And she actually surprised me. She was here
she came
for the opening. And I'm like,
oh man.
What are you doing? So when I saw her, I just like cried because she was in Kansas City and I had no clue. She told me, oh, I'm going to try to make it to a show and I don't know when. And she travels a lot with work.
Yes.
And so, I'm standing like, hi, thank you for coming. And it's like, oh man, the tears just started flowing. Like, oh wow, I cannot believe it.
It's kind of interesting, our family certainly being our biggest supporters, and we've had people that it's either the first time or one of their first times for a big role on the stage, and it's amazing how far people will come to see friends, family. I think the furthest was Canada. I think Calgary. We've had someone.
Wow.
There was a Megan Schultz, one of our. She always. Incredible. She's opera trained, incredible voice, but never got a major role till Anything Goes. And so people came from a long way to see her. Same thing with Kansas. There's this girl. She was like 25. She was the same weight she's been since 15. So she looked about the same. Now, most of us can't say that, but, so she could pass for 15, but she was 25.
Okay.
And her family, it's the first big role, so her family came from Kansas to come. Wow. It is amazing how far, and we love them for it. Thank you so much for coming to see us and stuff, because we certainly need that support. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it makes it like even so much more special
yes, absolutely.
And so worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I was like, I do not want to be a disappointment to the cast. Like, I have got to pull my weight,
No chance of that.
Like, I got to step my game up,
Absolutely. And that's all we want to do here. You see that too, is that, people do the best. We want to do better.
Right.
And really, we look at this really as a growing experience for all of us.
Exactly.
Is that no matter where you are, you can always do better. There are people on that stage that used to do this professionally.
Yes.
And now they're happy. Like Michael Robbie. He used to dance professionally.
Right.
But now he just, he does other stuff and, he does this on the side. We have people that this is their first time on the stage. It's amazing. This huge range of things.
Right.
It's just amazing. So we love them all, but we can all grow from the experience as a family. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we've loved having you here. We hope you'll come back for other shows and stuff like that. Absolutely.
Doing so. Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm going to ask that question we've been asking everyone. If heaven exists, what do you want God to say when you get to the pearly gates?
I just want him to say, well done.
Mm-hmm.
Well done.
Give you a hug?
And hugs. I'm
Might
probably going to pass out.
Would he sing? Or she sing?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll sing.
Yeah?
Maybe I'll sing. I think I'll sing.
All right.
Yeah.
It was good. Tessie, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
All right.